All right, guys. At the beginning of the year, I made a pretty bold claim that trade is good. Now, we're going to dive a little deeper into why is trade good, what situations cause trade to be good, um, and uh, and in the next couple videos, we're going to kind of do almost some mathematical proof that shows why trade is beneficial. But for now, I want to back off the math a little bit. So let's say that you have a situation where you have Bob and Joe. Okay, very generic names there. So you got Bob and Joe. And Bob is really good at, I don't know, making bread. And Joe is really good at making butter. Joe's better at making butter than he is at making bread, and Bob is better at making bread than he is at making butter. So these guys, they're smart. They go, oh, well, I'm really good at this, and so I'll just trade with someone else who makes this other thing. Because I stink at making that other thing, okay? And they're really good at it. This is kind of the no-duh case where, of course, trade is going to be good. Because this guy's better at making this guy's better at making this. They trade, they're both better off. This is something called absolute advantage. Absolute advantage is where you're able to produce more with the same amount of resources. So maybe this guy right here is able to make 10 pounds of butter per hour, and this guy is able to, and he's able to make 20 loaves of bread per hour. But this guy over here makes 40 loaves of bread per hour. And this guy is able to make only 5 pounds of butter per hour. So he's better at bread, he's better at butter, so duh, specialize in the thing that you're good at, and then trade. Okay? So that makes sense that if you both have absolute advantage in separate goods, then you're going to be better off if you specialize and trade. You probably didn't need an economics class to teach you that. Okay? Here is more of like the mind-blowing thing, the thing that you're like, okay, I'm glad I took an economics class so I know this. There's another type of advantage that economists like to talk about. So we're going to get a little less mathy. I'll dive into the math in a later video, but let's say we've got LeBron James here. Okay, I'm going to make him kind of tall. And then we've got kind of a teenage kid here. Let's put some acne on him. Anyways, so you've got LeBron James over here. You've got, this acne-faced, teenager. And let's say LeBron James is considering whether or not he should mow his own lawn. Okay, he's got a pretty big lawn, right? Well, he thinks about it and he goes, well, I'm a strong guy and I'm a smart guy, and I can push this lawnmower really, really fast, really hard, because I'm this big strong dude. Or even on the lawnmower, he's really good at maneuvering it, because he really knows how to maneuver things really well. And so he thinks about it and he goes, I am better than this kid at mowing lawns. So therefore, I should mow my own lawn. That's stupid. LeBron James should not mow his own lawn. Okay? Now think about it. So LeBron James could mow his own lawn, but why is that stupid? Why is it stupid for him to mow his own lawn? Hopefully something in the back of your mind is saying, because he could be doing other things. He could be practicing basketball. He could be signing autographs. He could be filming Space Jam 2. Okay? All of those things are better uses of his time than mowing his lawn, even though he's better than this kid at mowing these lawns. Now, the concept here that we're talking about is something called comparative advantage. Comparative advantage. It's not the same as absolute advantage. It's not saying that I am better than you at this, or I'm worse than you at this. What it means is I give up less to produce. In other words, you have a lower opportunity cost. So think about it. LeBron James is better at basketball than this kid, but he's also better at mowing lawns. But whenever LeBron James mows his lawn, he gives up so much more than this kid does. This kid, like he's, giving up some of his Fortnite time, okay? Not giving up that much. Whereas this guy is giving up a chance to film Space Jam 2 or practice basketball or sign autographs or whatever. So much more, he's losing so much more than this guy is losing. The opportunity cost is so much greater. So the weird thing is trade can be good even if you have absolute advantage in everything. Even if you are better than everyone at everything, trade is still good. Even if you're worse than everyone at everything, trade can still be good for you if you have absolute advantage in nothing. Because it's impossible to have comparative advantage in everything. LeBron James has comparative advantage in basketball. Okay, he can play basketball really well. Other people would have to give up a lot more time, a lot more effort to play basketball as well as LeBron James. But this acne-faced kid has comparative advantage in mowing lawns because what he's giving up to mow a lawn, what LeBron James is giving up, is a lot more than what this acne-faced kid is giving up. So, what does it make sense to do? Acne-faced kid specializes in mowing lawns. LeBron James specializes in basketball and maybe, again, filming Space Jam 2. But they specialize and they trade. And even though LeBron James is better at all the stuff, both of these parties become better off with trade. So, let's review. Absolute advantage means you're better at making the thing, okay? You produce more with the same resources, okay? If he has absolute advantage and he has absolute advantage in something else, of course trade is going to make sense there, okay? But even if one party has absolute advantage in everything and the other party has absolute advantage in nothing, trade still makes sense because one of them is going to have comparative advantage in at least one good, and one of them is going to have comparative advantage in something else. So you specialize in what you have comparative advantage in, and you trade. Now, this doesn't just apply to like LeBron James and the acne-faced kid. This can also apply to countries. You've got really wealthy countries like the US, and I hear people all the time say, well, we could just make that in the US, and we should make everything here. And no, What we do is here we make things that we have a comparative advantage in. And we trade with countries that have comparative advantage in other things. And you might be saying, well, we could make it better here in the US. Well, we might be able to produce more with the same amount of resources, maybe. But a lot of times we'd have to give up a lot more to produce those things, okay? Sometimes, spending high skill labor on low skill tasks, that's not a good plan. You really want to be doing what you are good at and not giving up more than you need to be. So what causes trade to be good? It doesn't have to be absolute advantage. It only has to be comparative advantage. Just having a lower opportunity cost allows you to specialize in something and gain from trade. All right? We're going to go into a little more technical detail. I apologize, it gets a little mathy, but it's important to see why this works.